Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Raw review. YWC Champ back again, and I have to tell you, I am not feeling these Raws. I mean, it's post-Mania. I wanted to give my subs, something here. I know, everybody wants me to do my Raw reviews. Some people say don't even bother anymore. They want political and entertainment videos, but I'm trying to persevere. I'm trying to stay strong here, people. But anyway, we start off the show with Braun Strowman cutting a promo. The crowd is cheering for Strowman. He flipped the man over in the ambulance. He's talking about beating the shit out of him, and people are cheering. But we're not going to fix this. This is WWE. We're not going to fix this. It's fine, right? They had the golden opportunity following Mania to turn Reigns heel. I'm not going to launch into another endless rant because you've heard it 1,000 times from me already. Check out my videos on WWE ruining Roman Reigns. I'm not going to repeat myself again. Angle comes out. He tells him he's got the night off. Braun Strowman gives him or else, and he walks out of the ring. We would see Braun throughout the night, in various segments beating people up. I noticed that Angle doesn't even, he gets threatened there by Braun Strowman. If someone threatens Stephanie on the show, she's gonna go off the handle. Threaten Angle, and he's okay with it. Braun Strowman walks out. Anyway, Samoa Joe defeated Chris Jericho. Jericho has a match against Owens, but at Payback, but they don't care. First of all, they have this match booked and they're on two separate shows. Why is this happening? They have Orton and Bray Wyatt on two separate shows. They have Owens and Jericho on two separate shows, and they're gonna still have these guys wrestle at the pay-per-view. Just forget about the rematches. If you're gonna put them on separate shows, what is the point? They can't even interact with one another. It's not even like one person is invading the other show. I know they want to keep the sanctity of the draft, by not having these little invasion, segments, but I guess it would be welcomed here. At least it would mean something. There'd be a little bit of interaction between these. It's supposed to be a feud. Also, this thing about Samoa Joe, they want to build this guy up. They give him the win over Jericho. Where was he at Mania? If they wanted to give this guy some momentum, at least have him win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Instead, they gave it to Mojo Rawley. Wouldn't it have made more sense if Joe was going to be this big star now? He's going to be challenging Seth Rollins. Wouldn't it make more sense to maybe have him win the Battle Royal? Since, in theory, that's supposed to be the Battle Royal that launches their career to the next level. But instead, they give it to a meaningless guy who they're not going to do anything with anyway. They could have given it to Joe. But why would you beat Jericho here? See, this is the thing they have no idea with. Doesn't it make Jericho weak to book him to lose here? If he has a big match coming up for the U.S. title, why would they have him lose? Like I said, who is booking this show? And it's not like it's anything new. Like I said, these are the complaints on every single show. You've got guys win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. It doesn't even matter anymore. Nobody has any momentum. Everybody loses, everybody wins. It's all about having fun. That's basically, as Michael Cole would put it, it's all about having fun here. Meanwhile, Booker T is losing his mind. But I will say this. I will take Booker T over Byron Saxton any day of the week. And I know that they're going to move David Otunga into the announce booth. Oh, what a stimulating announce team that's going to be with Michael Cole and David Otunga. I can't wait to hear that one. That's going to be one hell of a doozy. So much charisma. The charisma of paint drying, for fuck's sakes. Backstage, you had Braun Strowman attacking Golden Truth. You know, these guys are like afterthoughts, basically. You know, Goldust comes back. He's in the greatest shape of his life. All he wants to do is have a match against his brother at Mania. Cody's not in the company. He's stuck in a shit tag team. And R-Truth, I've ranted on him enough in the past. I'm not even going to waste my breath. Up next, you had Anderson and Gallows defeating Enzo and Cass. And the thing that cracks me up about this match is that you had like a 5-month gap on here where I was doing no wrestling reviews. I wasn't even really discussing wrestling at all. I was doing like a video every couple of weeks, talking about Goldberg or something, but no full Raw reviews. 5 months ago, we were having these matches. Fast forward 5 months later, and you're having the same exact matches. We already saw this match, and already they had this match already a couple of weeks ago. They keep on having the same exact ones. How many times could they possibly book the same exact match? And what are they getting out of this? Is it building anybody up? Is there a storyline progressing? No, none of the above. There's nothing happening with it. What a boring fucking tag team. This is what I was saying. I ranted on them in my top 10 most hated wrestlers. And I still stand by that. What a boring fucking thing. They're from Japan, Yeah, they're from Japan. Who gives a fuck? I mean, Jesus Christ, these guys have no charisma. They're just two bald guys. You had an opportunity there with Gallows. He looks tough. Maybe he could be a monster. Take advantage of his height. Nope. Don't do. Still keep him in the same tag team, and it's fucking lame as shit. And McMahon, meanwhile, Enzo was getting ragdolled at the end over there. I love when he gets ragdolled. This is a man he'd probably celebrate when Enzo finally breaks his neck. He's like has some type of masochistic infatuation with seeing this guy get ragdolled, from what I hear. It's quite disturbing, to say the least. Dean Ambrose is on Miz TV. The Miz is talking about how Ambrose was champion last year for a couple of months, and he says fast forward to Mania, and the guy's only a blip on the card. Actually, he really wasn't even on the card. He was on the pre-show card, and it's really sad. As I said it last week. Here's a guy who's the world champion. It's the same thing. I was watching the number one contenders match with Dolph Ziggler. He's a 2-time champion, and they know because they have to say that to remind you that he was a champion, just like Jack Swagger was a champion. Just like R-Truth had a main event match against John Cena at the Capital Punishment pay-per-view 5 years ago, 6 years ago. You would forget that these guys at one time were considered big stars. And the same thing can be said for Miz, the guy main evented WrestleMania. He was also world champion. And what do? They don't know what to do with these guys. They give them world titles. They give them U.S. titles. It was like Roman Reigns. After he won the world title, at WrestleMania against Triple H, they knocked him back down to the U.S. title. It's like ridiculous. It's like they win titles and then they immediately take the belt off of them when they realize that they're not quite ready to do that, and they give them a secondary title. It's like you wouldn't see this back in the day. Stone Cold winning the world title, Kurt Angle, The Rock, Triple H, all these guys, they won the world title, and they were, even when they weren't in the world title match at the pay-per-view, they were still in an important match that still meant something. They still felt like main eventers. They still felt like big stars. Now you see guys like that, they weren't even on the pay-per-view. Dean Ambrose was at last year's Mania against Brock Lesnar, who is now the Universal Champion. Then fast forward 1 year, and he's not even on the pay-per-view. He's not even at Mania. So you look at this, and you're just and Dolph Ziggler, he was just a guy, I think, in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So how do they how do they want us to take any of these guys seriously? Basically, a belt has just become a belt. It's basically, it should just be used for holding up your pants because it doesn't mean fucking shit anymore. You've got former champions all over the show. And I've said this in the past. When they actually have to write it in the promo, and they actually, have the announcer saying that someone is not as good as they used to be, even though it's like, it only took place in the span of less than a year, that's sad. I mean, it really is. I mean, when a guy would win the world title, that meant something. That it was like when Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart won the world title. That launched them to the next level. That launched them into the stratosphere. That meant that they were going to be a force to be reckoned with for years and years, and they were going to carry the company into a new direction. They had a new champion. Now it's just like it's a guy with a belt. They're just changing the belt to somebody else. It doesn't even mean that it's going to be the next big star. Basically, give the guy a belt, and it's like, let's see how long before they take it off of him. And really, it's not the fault of anybody. I'm not saying that a guy like Dean Ambrose can't be a world champion. He could have with a different writing team. They gave us a guy in a pair of jeans and a black tank top who just acted a bit goofy, and they said, here's your world champion. And I wasn't buying it. And very other few people were. Nobody was tuning in, and I was one of the few people here in the YWC when everybody was saying, WWE is saved, like they have 20 other times. I was the one, who was a bit skeptical, to say the least, saying that, nah, they're not saved. This is just going to be the same garbage. It's going to be business as usual. We're just going to have a brief title run, and it's, and he's going to drop back down the card. Take a look at this promo, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Backstage, Braun Strowman dumps Kalisto in the garbage. My thoughts exactly. In fact, if it was possible, maybe take one of the Raw logos and dump that in the trash as well. Hell, dump 75% of the roster in the trash while you're at it. What a load of fucking garbage. Exactly. Throw Kalisto in the trash. That's the least he could have done. I mean, that really should have taken maybe, would have been hilarious if he took a bunch of guys from the Cruiserweight division and just dumped them all in the trash. Now that would have been hysterical. That probably would have ranked up probably the top 10 funniest moments in the history of the company. But I'll take what I can get with Kalisto being tossed in the trash. Big Show rams him into a steel shutter and says, "Pick on someone your own size." And now, Big Show just shows up out of nowhere. Another guy who was not even on the Mania card, wasn't anywhere to be found. All of a sudden, he just shows up again. Yeah, he was there last week. He punched Kurt Hawkins and walked out. I mean, does this guy even have a purpose anymore? Again, a former world champion, multiple-time world champion. And there you go. Here's, pretty sad. TJ Perkins defeats Jack Gallagher. Okay, I've already said how much I dislike these two guys. This is, I have no interest in seeing two fucking geekwad nerds wrestle. Next match, please. Titus is backstage with what the hell's his name? Apollo Crews. And he's babbling on about some shit about, he could help him out with his brand, his name rhymes with Sue's, and the fuck, what is he even talking about? Years ago, on this channel, I talked about how I endorsed Titus O'Neil. I thought that this guy could be, you know, a big star. He had great personality. He had the look. But now, you know, I don't know what it is. I'm not seeing it anymore. Especially when I see shit like this. It's just, I'm no longer going to stand here and promote a guy. You know, they have no interest in doing anything with them anymore. And I've just got sick of it already, of them wanting to do anything with them. They're not going to do anything with them. If McMahon has something against them, just release them. You know, whatever that thing was on the stage where, like, what was that thing where he got suspended for like 3 months where he like he pushed McMahon or some shit. I don't know. Just if you have a problem with the guy, don't put him in stupid fucking segments like this. Just get rid of him. What was he even saying here? You know, it wasn't even comprehensible to humans. The Hardys were backstage with Sheamus and Cesaro. What a generic promo this was. Some interesting stuff. Matt Hardy was kind of throwing in some of his broken gimmick. He was saying Eva and Laya and stuff, and you know, it's like they don't want to commit to it. I'm aware there's like a lawsuit going on with TNA or Impact Wrestling and WWE, them hiring the Hardys or something. It was like a breach of contract or whatever the hell it was. You know, they can't do some variation on the broken gimmick. He's throwing a couple of lines out there, I guess, without it really being. But you could tell, like, Matt's face is like, you know, he is broken, Matt, but they don't want to write it in. It's, you know, this is a big moment. We waited years for the Hardys to return home, and now it just feels like they're thrown into the tag division. Like, it's exactly what they were saying. Like, Jeff Hardy is a multi-time world champion. He was in TNA as a massive star. And I feel like, you know, we're back to where they started in 1999. I mean, I don't feel like these guys are big stars. I mean, I look at a guy like Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, and then I'm looking at Finn Balor on the fucking card, and I'm like, why? It makes no sense to me. These guys are charismatic. They should not have to be relegated to a position of just being another tag team. And what was this backstage? You know, Cesaro walks up and Jeff Hardy's like, "Oh, hey guys." Like, just like I said, just like any other tag team. I mean, when they say that these guys are legendary, they ain't fucking kidding. This was one of the most popular teams of all time. Like I said, it was my favorite tag team in WWE. I mean, this is a big fucking team, and I don't think that the current writers really have an idea of who they're writing for. I mean, these guys are super over, and you see that people know what they were doing in Impact. I gave my thoughts on the final deletion and all the other little segments that they had after that. I mean, these guys still have a lot of money in them that they could make for this company, but they're just going to make them another team. And this was just awkward. It really was. Matt was trying to be broken, but he really couldn't be broken. Cesaro was apologizing for Sheamus, you know, being rude. I'm like, can they do something with the Hardys already? This is ridiculous. We have to watch them like this in a struggling backstage segment. I mean, this is the fucking Hardy Boys we're talking about. I mean, I know that they already destroyed the Dudleys. That's what scares me. I mean, I know that the Hardys are, like I talked about this in last week's review. The Hardys are way above the Dudleys. But, you know, if they treated the Dudleys like that, I just don't think they know who they're dealing with. I mean, the last time Jeff left the company, he was a world champion. I hope that they realized that. They were saying that on commentary, but it's, like I said, Dean Ambrose was also a world champion. The fact that somebody held a belt doesn't really mean that much to them anymore. That's what is not very reaffirming about the whole hiring of the Hardys. I feel like, just like anything, it's a novelty to them. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that with this actually next. Alexa Bliss defeated Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, and Mickie James. Mickie James is back. Mickie James main evented WrestleMania against Trish Stratus. But ever since Mickie James came back, they haven't really done anything with her. She's losing again. Like I said, why bring her back? Oh, we just need another woman. It could have been Gail Kim, for fuck's sakes. It could have been anybody else on the roster. It's just, another girl that they could, stick out there and say, oh, she was a former women's... They said 5-time women's champion. And the fact that she's come back and they really haven't given her a big match for the title, they could have had Charlotte versus Mickie James. It could have been like the future versus the past, and they could have built it up. They could have talked about all the matches Mickie James had in the past and how Charlotte is the new wave of women's wrestling. All these ideas wasted. And they're not even on the same show anymore, so that idea is history. You can kiss that one goodbye. But it just shows you. I'm just here making a video here on YouTube. I don't work for this company, but yet I could easily come up with ideas and not even try. I wasn't even thinking about that prior to turning on the camera. But there you go. There's a big women's match right there. And if they could get a couple of months out of that even, of TV with Charlotte and Mickie James. Mickie James can hold her own on the mic. We've seen it, and so could Charlotte. They could tell a good story. They could tell a story on the mic, in the ring, you name it. But they want to stick to the same formula here. So, but Alexa Bliss, I'm liking the whole heel routine she's going with here. So we've got Bayley and Alexa Bliss, and this is a nice contrast of characters. Bayley is the nice girl, and you've got Alexa Bliss, who's going to be like the bitchier one. So it could be interesting, but we all know how it goes. It ain't going to be great. Said that we have to think that way, but that's the truth. Kurt Hawkins comes out, and here's a guy that they promoted for months in video packages. It's obvious the guy has charisma. He has a sense of humor. Finn Balor comes out and destroys him like in 30 seconds. And I'm standing here and I'm looking. Kurt Hawkins has a better build than Finn Balor, has more personality, looks more like a star, has a look that is more wrestler-like, that is more star-like than Finn Balor, and Kurt Hawkins is supposed to be the one that we're supposed to perceive as a jobber. And it's maddening to think this, because I look at Balor and I see a jobber. I don't see anything about Balor that makes him stick out. When he's not wearing the fucking paint, he looks like a jobber to me. He looks like a guy that was on Velocity or Sunday Night Heat jobbing to the bigger stars when they had nothing better to do. But once again, we have Balor, and we're supposed to, Michael Cole, it's only a matter of time before this guy is champion again. Yeah, I know, and I'm not looking forward to it. Jericho is backstage cutting a promo on Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is not there, so it really doesn't fucking matter. The Drifter walks by, Elias Sampson, or however the fuck you say his name. And, he just walks by, and Jericho just puts him on the list. No interaction between the characters. It's like, I don't find it funny, I don't find it entertaining. Nothing's happening on this show, folks. Nothing's fucking happening. I mean, it's uneventful. A guy walked by playing a guitar. Bray Wyatt cuts a promo. I like all these little things that they, the little effects that they've been editing into Bray Wyatt's videos. I don't know what took them so long to think of this, but it adds to the mystique of Bray Wyatt. So it's a little extra something. Decent promo here, but once again, it's just Bray Wyatt, and you can't interact with Orton because they're on two separate shows, and it's a world title match. It's a world title match, and as you can see, meanwhile, Randy Orton is interacting with the challenger on the next pay-per-view, Jinder Mahal. They're so busy with the fucking SmackDown pay-per-view that they're only focusing on the Raw pay-per-view, even though he's going to be wrestling him on that one. It's like they're showing that this pay-per-view doesn't matter because they want to get to that other one. So just don't do the match then. If it's not that important, and we know obviously that Randy Orton is just going to end up winning anyway, and it's going to be that predictable, why have the match? Save us the time. Just take it off the card. Emma's backstage with Dana and Alicia Fox, and this was another segment very reminiscent of the Titus O'Neil thing, talking about a gift. She was showing a video to Dana, and Emma said that Dana was lying, and Alicia gets all insulted and runs off. I'm like, what are they even talking about? They're talking about some dumb fucking shit that I'm it's completely lost on me. What is this conversation about? What gift? What? Did it happen on 205 Live? Did it happen? I don't know. I don't fucking care. What was it? Emma? Next, please, just for the love of God. Jeff Hardy defeated Cesaro. It was a good match. It was great to see Jeff Hardy back in singles action. But like I said, I can't help but feel that they're just another tag team. Just another tag team on the roster. And in the main event, it was Braun Strowman versus The Big Show. And the whole ring collapses after a superplex. So this is the third time that this has happened in WWE history. At the first time it happened, Brock Lesnar superplexed Big Show on SmackDown back in 2003. Then it happened again when Big Show and Mark Henry had a match. The ring broke again. Now it's happening again. So you see every couple of years they're doing the Jim Cornette rule. Every couple of years you could repeat a wrestling angle. And, I understand this the second time they did it. It's not like it needed to be exclusive. But now it's the third time. And it's not that it's bad. I understand why they did it, to make, these guys seem like they're behemoths, and they're really trying to make Braun Strowman just look like fucking big. And I get that, but, I'm not going to jump up and down about something that I've seen twice already throughout history. I mean, it's one thing if, you're a kid and this is the first time you're seeing this, it's exciting, but I'm not going to fucking jump out of my chair and pump my fist and be like, wow, because it's not the first time it's happened. They can't come up with any new material. Forget about new material, even material they've done before. They're trying to copy, and it's just not as good as it used to be. There's nothing wrong with what happened here. But it shows if they don't rely on their old tricks. This Raw, you look at this Raw, what was great about this Raw besides the ring breaking? If the ring didn't break, what would this Raw be known for? Nothing. Just a collection of matches and promos that, meant nothing. If you didn't watch this show this week, besides the ring breaking, what did you really miss? What happened on this show that needed to be seen? Absolutely fucking nothing. Nothing at all on this show needed to be seen or watched or anything. You didn't need to watch this show. And what you did see was a moment. And you could see that moment 2 other times on the network. You could see it in 2 other matches. So besides that, what really happened on this show that was exciting or needed to be seen? The answer, nothing. You could have saved your time and not watched it at all, and I could have did the same exact thing. So, besides that one moment, I'm looking at this show, and it's nothing. Nothing happened on this show. Uneventful. It's the same shit week after week. Nothing moves forward. No storylines progress. It's boring. They blew their chance with Roman Reigns. They blew their chance after Mania to make a big statement and bring the company in a different direction with a brand new star. And they failed. And I'm not surprised at all. There you go, motherfuckers. There's your Raw review. Your YWC champion signing out.